Hello, everyone. Well, today I am absolutely delighted to be starting my next book club. Now, I've got so many books on the list that I want to do, so many, but I've taken a little bit of a vote on it. And one that I think is going to be really, really helpful to everyone is Good Vibes, Good Life by Vex King. Now, why have I chosen this book? Lots and lots of reasons. First and foremost, I know a lot of people across all different age groups that have read this, from teenagers to every single age group who reads this seems to really enjoy it. And it's so, so helpful. It's got so many golden nuggets in there. It's also really, really easy to read. I love Vex's writing style. It's very, very easy, broken down into nice little really short chapters, which I really, really love. And I think it's such a skill. It's such a skill to take such complicated subjects and to make it understandable to all sorts of people of all different, levels of awareness. So what I'm going to do is the same one as I did with my Roxy Nefosi Manifest book. I'm going to be reading this through in sections. For those of you that can afford it, I would really, really recommend you get this. You can get this on Amazon. You can get it from all good bookstores. And it's really lovely to support the author by buying the book. And what I will be doing is reading it through. And then what I'm going to do is just be making my little comments as I go through. I'm going to do it in bite sizes so that people can use it as and when they want to. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. So let's get started. I'm going to read the back cover and you'll see why I've picked this one. Be the best version of you that you can be. How can you learn to truly love yourself? How can you transform negative emotions into positive ones? Is it possible to find lasting happiness? In this book, Instagram guru Vex King answers all of these questions and more. Vex overcame adversity to become a source of hope for thousands of young people and now draws from his personal experience and his intuitive wisdom to inspire you to practice self-care, overcome toxic energy, and prioritize your well-being, to cultivate a positive lifestyle habits, including mindfulness and meditation, change your beliefs to invite great opportunities into your life, manifest your goals using tried and tested techniques, overcome fear and flow with the universe, find your higher purpose and become a shining light for others. In this book, Vex will show you that when you change the way you think, feel, speak, and act, you change the world. And Lewis Howes, New York Times bestselling author and host of the School of Greatness podcast, I love Lewis Howes' podcast, said this is the perfect guide for those who are seeking a way out of the darkness and want to live a more beautiful and meaningful life. So one of the main reasons I chose this book is at the moment, so many people that watch my channel are probably on a similar thinking to me in terms of, goodness me, what's going on in the world? We've had our eyes open to nothing is as we seem. Everything is topsy-turvy. Everything is inverted. And in this book, you're going to find some simple, easy to put into place practical tips with lots of examples. So let's get started and see what you think. Right. Mum, I dedicate this book to you. Our life has been tough, but with your strength, faith, and perseverance, you've made incredible things happen for us. Regardless of everything that came your way and all the times I've let you down, you show me nothing but unconditional love. It was this love that led to the sacrifices you made. It was this love that kept me smiling. You forgave, you hugged, you laughed, you inspired, you encouraged, you healed. And you did everything else in your power to demonstrate that with love, anything was possible. Which is why I'm here today, passing on my love to others through my words. And Dad, of course, my existence would not be possible without you. Although I never got to know you properly, I've always felt your energy guiding me when I needed it most. I know how much I meant to you when I was born. I hope you're proud of me. Finally, I'd like to dedicate this book to anyone with a dream, whether that's a dream just to survive, or to make it through a dark day. It was my dream to write this book that will positively change lives across the world. If I can make it happen, so can you. I believe in you. I hope you do too. That's pretty powerful just to begin with as well. Just my thoughts on that. How often do we tell people that we love them? How often do we express our gratitude for people and what they've done to us and whether they've stuck through with us through thick and thin? I think that's a really, really important thing to recognise straight away. Introduction. For 3 years of my childhood, I had no fixed home. My family and I lived with relatives and, for short periods during this time, in a housing shelter. I was grateful that we had a roof over our heads, but I remember how frightening the housing shelter experience was. There were always unpleasant-looking characters lurking around the entrance who would throw us piercing stares when we entered the building. Being a 4-year-old child, I felt scared, but my mother reassured me that things would be okay. She said that we should just look down and go straight to our room. One night we popped out, and when we returned, there was blood all over the staircase and on the walls in the corridor. Fragments of glass covered the floor. My sisters and I had never seen anything so horrific before. We looked up at our mum. I sensed fear in her. But again, with courage, she told us to tread carefully over the glass and get up to our room. Still shaken by what we'd seen, my sisters and I tried to work out what may have happened downstairs in the corridor in the shelter. Then we heard screams and shouting, followed by sounds of chaos. It was terrifying. Once more, we looked to Mum for comfort. She pulled us in close and told us not to worry, but I could hear her heart pounding. She was just as scared. We had very little sleep that night. The screams went on and on. I was surprised that no police came and that no one else seemed to be trying to calm the storm. It was as though no one cared about the safety of the people there. It felt like no one cared about us. All we had was each other in a world that seemed cold and corrupt. When I discuss childhood memories like this with one of my friends and family, they're shocked by how much I can remember. I often find them asking, how do you even remember that? You were so young. I don't remember everything, nor are my memories crystallized in clear detail. However, I do remember how I felt during the majority of my experiences, good and bad. There was so much emotion attached to the events that took place, and these memories haunted me for a very long time. During my late teens, I wished a lot of these memories would just go away. I wanted to erase them so that I was no longer reminded of the struggles I'd faced as a child. I was even embarrassed by some of them. I felt uncomfortable with who I was. There were times when I said and did things that didn't match the child I was deep down. I often felt hurt by the world and wanted to hurt it back. Things are different now. I look back on my memories and embrace everything that happened. There's a lesson to be learned from every event. I realise that the good, the bad, and the downright ugly events are all part of who I've become. Although some of them may have been painful, they're a blessing. They've taught me so much. My experiences have left me with a drive to find a way out of misery and a path towards a better life. I've written this book to share the lessons I've learned in the hope that they'll provide you with some clarity and guidance to live what I call a greater life. It's up to you what you take from my stories. I accept that some of the ideas will resonate, whilst others will feel uncomfortable. Nevertheless, I do believe that if you can apply the concepts I discuss within the course of this book, you'll experience incredible positive changes of your life. I'm not a philosopher, a psychologist, a scientist, or a religious leader. I'm simply someone who likes to learn and share my wisdom with others in the hope it may release them from undesirable feelings and increase feelings of joy. One of my cats jumping up. He normally knocks everything everywhere. Powerful already, isn't it? I believe that every person on this planet is here to make a difference. I'm devoted to helping you find your purpose so you can add value to our world, which is in such turmoil. If we can collectively become conscious citizens of this planet, we'll lessen the burden we place on it. By living to your full potential, you'll not only change your world, you'll change the world around you too. Some people are comfortable with mediocrity. They avoid living a greater life, one that's beyond what most consider the norm. A greater life requires you to find your greatness. In simple terms, greatness is about becoming the greatest version of yourself. It's about breaking the imaginary boundaries that hold you captive in a life you believe you have to settle for, and touching the realms of the unthinkable. The greatness mentality means living a life without limits, where there are infinite possibilities. For this reason, we cannot define where greatness begins or ends. We can only strive to become better. Stop trying to impress people. Impress yourself. Stretch yourself. Test yourself. Be the best version of you that you can be. This book requires you to commit to a better you right now. My aim is to help you become better than the person you were yesterday, every day, in each and every way for the rest of your life. If you wake up with a desire in your mind, then consciously follow up on it, you'll be surprised by how much inspiration you find. Your life will begin to reflect your commitment to progress. Greatness isn't a one-dimensional term. Although it's subjective, most will associate the word with having a special talent, lots of money or material possessions, authority or status, and big achievements under their belt. But true greatness goes deeper than that. It cannot exist without purpose, love, selflessness, humility, appreciation, kindness, and, of course, our highest priority as human beings, happiness. When I think of greatness, I think of reaching a level of mastery across all avenues of life and making a positive impact on the world. Great people aren't just the high rollers in life, but those who we value as amazing inhabitants of this world. You deserve a greater life, and this book will help you create it. Daily goal: be better than who I was yesterday. Post your pictures or favorite images, pages, quotes, and experiences related to this book on social media using #VexKingBook, so I can like them and feature them on my page. So that's just the introduction. Wow, there's so much in there, isn't it? I love this. I love the talk about community. I love the talk about recognizing that everything in life is a lesson, however painful it may seem at that time. And my goodness, how many lessons have we been through over the last few years, and how many are we going through right now, both in terms of relationships with yourself, about your sovereignty, about family members, about what you feel about the controllers of society, every aspect of your life, food chain, water. It's amazing to see how many areas, and I've had so many conversations with people just this week in terms of, it's a fine line, isn't it, about where do we concentrate all our efforts on ourselves and where do we concentrate on being good citizens, because we know that some of history's atrocities have come because no one has spoken up against them, or not enough people. You know, if we turn a blind eye to atrocities that are happening, then are we just as complicit in that as the perpetrators? So lots in it already. Let's get on to the first chapter. What is self-love? To achieve a sense of peace, we need balance. Balance between work and play, between action and patience, spending and saving, laughter and seriousness, leaving and staying. Failing to achieve a balance across every area of your life can leave you feeling exhausted, among many other unpleasant emotions, such as guilt. Here's an example of balancing action and patience. If you're the project leader of a final year university assignment and you catch a team member who you like on social media, instead of, sorry, I'll start that bit again. Here's an example of balancing action and patience. If you're the project leader of a final year university assignment and you catch a team member who you like on social media instead of helping your team, you may allow it to slide. If they do it on multiple occasions and you notice their productivity slipping, you may warn them that if it persists, you'll have to report them to the course leader. If they then choose to ignore you and continue their behaviour, would you feel guilty about taking further action? If you're a kind and compassionate human being, you may fear hurting their feelings and getting them in trouble. That vibrating noise is my cat grooming himself in the background. I apologise. By reporting them to the course leader, they may have to face severe consequences that affect their final grade, and that might have implications on their future. However, they're disrespecting you and ignoring your warnings. You may feel like they're taking your kindness for granted, and you might worry that other project members will be disheartened if they see your lenience as favouritism. In this instance, if you're kind and honest and follow a fair process, you needn't feel guilty for taking further action. It's important to recognise that it's not unjust to let those of you. It's important to recognise that it's not unjust to let go of those who show no concern for you. As project leader, you can remember that you tried your best and unfortunately your friend chose not to respond. If you don't take action, you risk losing your inner peace, the respect of your team, and harming your own grade. By taking a balanced approach, you can feel more at ease and avoid any bad feelings such as guilt. You demonstrate both action and patience. You can show that you're understanding and forgiving. Self-love is the balance between accepting yourself as you are whilst knowing you deserve better and then working towards it. So that's an interesting scenario, isn't it? I'm sure we've all got scenarios in our everyday life where we've got these things going on all the time. And a lot of us, myself included, have spoken a lot about boundaries and having healthy boundaries, but often those boundaries are a bit of trial and error to put in place. And everyone's going to set those boundaries at different places, depending what resonates for them as an individual. But these sort of questions are really important to ask, because there's always consequences of any action. But when you're giving it a considered, non-emotional, thought process, like Vex has just described there, I think that's the best we can do. And once you've made that decision, accept the consequences and accept you've done it from the right place. You can show that you're understanding and forgiving, and also firm and authoritative. The chances are that even if this student is upset by your decision, they will still respect you for giving them a chance. So, what does this have to do with self-love? Well, the phrase self-love is often misunderstood. Self-love encourages acceptance, but many people use this as an excuse to remain unchallenged. In fact, self-love consists of two essential elements that must be balanced if one wishes to live a harmonious life. The first element encourages unconditional love towards yourself. The focus is on mindset. The truth is, you won't love yourself more if, for example, you lose or gain weight or undergo cosmetic surgery. You may feel more confident, sure, but true self-love is when you appreciate where you are and who you are, regardless of any transformation you aspire to. The second element encourages growth, and the focus is on taking action. Improving yourself and your life is also at self-love, because it means you recognize that you deserve more than settling for mediocrity. When it comes to self-love, think about what it means to love others unconditionally. For example, your partner may have annoying habits, but this doesn't mean you love them any less. You accept them as they are, and sometimes even learn from their flaws. You also want what's best for them. Therefore, if a particular habit was affecting their health, you'd support them in making positive changes. This demonstrates your unconditional love for them. You don't judge them harshly, but you do want them to be the best version of themselves for their own sake. Self-love is about applying this to yourself, having your own best interests at heart. True self-love can be present in anything that adds value to your life, from your diet to your spiritual rituals or the way you interact with your personal relationships. And of course, a significant aspect of self-love is acceptance, being content with who you are as you are. As a result, self-love is empowerment and liberation. An understanding of self-love allows us to find balance between mindset and action. Without balance, we'll regularly stumble, fall, and feel lost. When you love yourself, life will begin to love you back. The balance between mindset and action will enable you to vibrate higher. We'll explore this further in the next few chapters. So, I mean, self-love has always been quite a triggering thing for me. I don't know why it's been so triggering. I think self-love means something different to absolutely everyone you speak to. And I'd really love to hear in your comments below, what does self-love mean to you? And what sort of practices do you incorporate into your daily life to ensure that you do have self-love and that that's something, if you need to, you're still working on? There's so many things we can do in this area, and I'd really, really love to hear what's working for each of you, because when we see what's working for other people, it might really, really help someone in the chat. So please don't be shy in sharing. So part 1, a matter of vibes. Introduction. My time at university was a financial struggle. Although I'd been given a student loan, most of it went on my accommodation. I had very little to live on. I couldn't buy any course books because I couldn't afford them. I wouldn't ask my mum for money because she knew I was struggling herself. I knew that if I did ask her, she'd somehow find the money for me, as she has always done her whole life, even if it meant that she couldn't eat. For the most part, I budgeted well. I could go out and party with my friends regularly. I never went hungry, and I didn't have to keep wearing the same clothes. I made a little money from online endeavors, like building customized page layouts on MySpace. During one summer term, I returned home for a break. I had no money left, and everything felt hard. I didn't want to go back to university because I didn't enjoy the work, and I had no motivation to complete my summer assignments. Having spent much of the year studying, I was forced to find a summer job so I'd be able to stay afloat when I got back to university. All of my friends were planning a much-needed holiday together, and I couldn't afford to go, and I was having problems with a girl. The drama I was experiencing in my romantic and platonic relationships constantly angered me, and I didn't feel good about life. One evening, I came across a book called The Secret. People were saying it was changing their lives and that everyone could benefit from it. It was founded on a simple principle, the law of attraction. Let me know below how many of you have read The Secret or seen the film, and what are your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts on it now? And can you remember what your thoughts were on it when you first read it or watched the film? The premise of the law of attraction is that what you think about, you bring about. In other words, we can attract the things we want into our lives by committing our thoughts to them. This applies to the things you don't want as well as the things you do want. Quite simply, whatever you focus on will be returned to you. So the law of attraction stresses the importance of thinking about what you want rather than focusing on things you fear or dread. The law of attraction places great emphasis on positive thinking. To me, it sounded too good to be true, so I began to do more research, and I read about people who were claiming that the law of attraction was bringing them astonishing changes. Could I apply this to my life too? I knew exactly what I wanted, to go on holiday with my friends. I needed roughly £500 for this to happen. So I followed the general guidelines and tried to be as positive as I could. A week or so later, I received a letter from the tax office saying that I may have paid too much tax. Was this a sign that the law of attraction was working? I filled out the forms to provide them with further details and posted it back to them as soon as I could. A week went by and I heard nothing. My friends were getting ready to book their holiday, and I felt miserable that I wouldn't be able to join them. The potential of tax rebate lingered in the back of my mind. With growing frustration, I rang the tax office and asked them if they'd received my letter. They confirmed they have and that I'd hear back soon. At this point, I felt excited, but I was running out of time. The summer term was ending and my friends would be going away soon. Another week went by and I still hadn't received anything. I was starting to give up on the idea and told my friends to book the holiday without me. I decided to focus elsewhere and lift my mood by reading motivational material. At the least, this would make me feel a little bit better about life. A few more days passed, then an envelope from the tax office arrived. I opened it nervously. Inside was a cheque for £800. I was shocked, overwhelmed, and overjoyed. I got myself to the bank as fast as I could to deposit the cheque. Cheques usually take up to 5 days to clear, but this one was in my account within 3 days. The following Monday, my friends and I booked a last-minute holiday and flew out 4 days later. I had a wonderful time, but more importantly, I became a believer in the law of attraction. I decided that I was going to use this to change my entire life. So I want to know in the comments what your thoughts are on the law of attraction. What are your experiences? I spoke about this in one of my recent interviews. I can't remember at the moment who it was with, but I read the law of attraction years ago. I think a friend gave it to me for my birthday back in 2011. The reason I remember that is it's written in the front and my daughter's just reading it now. And from that moment on, things started shifting to me. Now, being careful how I say this because of the platform we're on, there's a lot of things coming out about various people and who's involved in what and agendas behind things. But just like if it's your favorite band where you've got favorite music that uplifts you, brings back happy memories, makes you, lifts your vibration, a good book, a motivational speaker, you know, we all go through so many stages in life. And what I would say is take the good and just leave what doesn't serve for you. So if those of you that haven't read The Secret and tried some of these simple tips, honestly, I know so many people that have made major shifts in areas of their life just by reading The Secret and putting some of their teachings into place. So let me know what you think. Let me know, as I said, if your thoughts over this have evolved after you've looked into this more deeply. What do you think about the other universal laws and how they think into the law of attraction? And I will be back next time for the next in the series. Thank you for watching.